Watson. He will be giving the press conference. At the end, he will be fielding questions. However, it will only be in regards to the collision. And at this point, I'd like to introduce Chief Watson.
Good morning. Okay, my name is Chief Watson with Border Division, California Highway Patrol, and I'll be giving a brief synopsis about the collision that happened today. On March 2nd at approximately 06:15 hours, our El Centro Dispatch Center received a call of a traffic collision involving two vehicles which occurred on SR 115 at Norris Road. The vehicles involved were a big rig hauling two trailers and a maroon Ford Expedition. The big rig was traveling northbound on SR 115 south of Norris Road at an unknown speed. The Ford Expedition was westbound on Norris Road just east of SR 115 at the intersection. At this point, it's unknown whether or not the Expedition stopped at the stop sign, but it did enter the intersection in front of the big rig. Subsequently, the big rig collided with the left side of the Ford Expedition. As a result of this collision, the driver of the big rig sustained moderate injuries and was transported to Desert Regional Medical Center, where his injuries are being treated. There were 25 occupants in the Ford Expedition, including the driver. Unfortunately, 12 of the occupants, including the driver, succumbed to the injuries on scene. One other person was transported to the hospital where they also succumbed to the injuries. The other occupants who survived, who were in various stages, were transported to El Centro Regional Medical Center, Pioneers Memorial Hospital, Desert Regional Medical Center, and they're being treated for their injuries as we speak. Our multidisciplinary accident investigation team from Border Division is handling this collision and is going to make sure that we have a thorough and complete investigation completed. It'd be premature for me to discuss or speculate what caused this collision. What we have to keep in mind is that 13 people died in this crash. We owe it to the families and those killed and injured, as well as the public, to conduct a thorough and complete investigation. Once the investigation is complete, it will be thoroughly reviewed and, as appropriate, presented to the District Attorney's Office. We had several allied agencies that we work with here collectively in the area that helped us out today. The allied agencies were Holtville Fire Department, Imperial County Sheriff's Office, and Imperial County Coroner's Office, as well as Imperial County Fire and U.S. Border Patrol, who also responded out to render aid to all of the people involved in this collision. It's a very sad situation. We're working collectively with these agencies to make sure that we find out exactly what happened and come to a resolution for this. That's it.
Was this a Border Patrol pursuit?
This was not a Border Patrol pursuit. This is not associated with any allied agencies. We're not sure exactly what caused the collision, but there was no law enforcement involved with this incident.
Could you describe how 25 passengers could have been in that Ford Expedition and the age range we're talking about in terms of fatalities and those injuries?
The age ranges are 16 to 55 for the injured and 20 to 55 for those that passed away. Obviously, that vehicle is not meant for that many people. It's unfortunate that that number of people were put into that vehicle because there's not enough safety restraints to safely keep those people within the vehicle. There are numerous people that were ejected onto the roadway as a result of this collision. So part of our message is to make sure that we get out to our communities and make sure that safety restraints are part of the picture to save lives.
They are Mexican people?
We are working with the Mexican consulate to determine exactly who was in the vehicle and make sure we notify the next of kin.
Do we know if they were foreign workers?
We don't at this point.
Can you identify the driver?
We have identified the driver, but we can't release the name at this point.
Have you determined if any of them are U.S. citizens?
We have not.
So the hospital just had a presser and they said that there were kids inside, children inside the USD. Can you confirm that? The Mexican consulate is working with.
There were children in the vehicle, but we don't have all the ages as of yet.
You said you didn't know the rate of speed of the semi. How about the other passengers?
We don't know the rate of speed of either vehicle, so our accident investigation team will utilize their techniques and their equipment to determine the rate of speed prior to the collision and at the time of the impact of the collision.
Do you see a lot of accidents out here?
We see accidents all over the place, and our message to everyone in the public is to, one, watch their speed and to make sure that they're wearing their safety restraints in case they're involved in a collision so that they're not potentially ejected from the vehicles.
Do we know how long this road will be closed for the investigation?
It's going to be closed for quite a few hours. I can't speculate on how long because we want to make sure that we gather all of the evidence necessary to make sure we do a comprehensive investigation.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Can you confirm again the total number of occupants from the hospital? They said, a different figure as well as the number deceased.
Okay, the occupants in the SUV was 25, one occupant in the big rig. In the SUV, we had 12 fatalities on scene. One person passed away at the hospital for a total of 13 people that passed away.
Can you describe the scene? Were people ejected? Were they all in the SUV? What did it look like?
So some people were ejected onto the pavement, onto the ground, that passed away as a result of those injuries. Other people were found deceased within the vehicle, and then some of the walking wounded were able to pull themselves out of the vehicles, and they were out as well. So the number of ejected is unclear because once personnel arrived on scene, there were some that were wandering around and some that were already passed away.
I understand with the impact, obviously, people were thrown around, but were you able to tell, how many were in the front, how many were in the middle, how many were in the back, how they packed that many people in?
No, at this point, it's only speculation. We couldn't tell you where they were seated in the vehicle.
Were all the seats in the vehicle, or did they remove, a second or third row?
At this point, we haven't really got into that aspect of the investigation.
Can you tell us how Border Patrol is helping with the investigation?
Border Patrol is helping us with Spanish language translations, as well as life-saving aid for all the folks that were involved in the collision.
When you look at how many people were in the vehicle and the speed, that may have happened here, does it look like there was some sort of a smuggling or immigration issue?
We really can't speak to that point. It's hard to really determine something like that. What's more important for me is to make sure that the families are notified, and we do a thorough investigation to make sure that we know what the cause of the collision was.
Can you describe more in detail what we're looking at here? Obviously, we're seeing the positioning of that big rig and, of course, the Ford Expedition. We see the skid marks on the road right now. So could you just tell us, for example, what you think happened in terms of how it landed in this position?
I really couldn't speak to that because that's what the investigative process is for. All we can say is that those two vehicles did interact and it caused some fatalities as a result of that collision. But we don't want to be premature about the cause of the collision or speeds or anything of that nature. So we have to make sure we have a comprehensive investigation completed before we really speak about exactly what happened and how the vehicles ended up in that position.
Is the driver among those deceased?
The driver of the SUV did pass away, yes.
Thank you for your time, sir.
But, yes.
Can you spell your first name for us?
Pardon me?
Could you spell your first name for us? Omar, O-M-A-R.
My first name?
Yes.
Omar, O-M-A-R.
Can we have the explanation for Spanish news?
Yes.
Buenos días. Hoy por la mañana, sí, Sargento Juan García. Hoy por la mañana, aproximadamente 6:15 de la mañana, el centro de comunicaciones del centro recibió una llamada de un accidente que involucró un troque, doble remolque y un SUV. El accidente se reportó en la carretera estatal 115 y Norris Road. El troque doble remolque iba norte en el 115 y cuando llegó aquí a la carretera North estaba el SUV hacia el oeste. No sabemos si paró en el alto antes del accidente por este momento, pero parece que cuando él salió al 115 fue impactado por el troque doble remolque. En el vehículo que involucrado habían 25 personas. Y el chofer del troque, solo en el troque. Por causa del accidente, desafortunadamente, 13 personas fallecieron del vehículo que estaba en Norris Road. 12 fallecieron aquí en el accidente y el otro fue que se fue al hospital y falleció en el hospital. El chofer del troque también fue trasladado al hospital con, no de mayor grado, pero significantes heridas. Los que fueron llevados al hospital fueron a 3 diferentes hospitales. Unos fueron al Central Regional, otros a la Pioneers Memorial Hospital y el otro al Hospital Desert Regional Medical. También estamos en comunicación con el consulado para tratar de ayudarles a comunicarse con familiares, para darles información y lo que está sucediendo. Por el momento el equipo, la unidad que está especializado en investigar accidentes están aquí, agarrando todo lo que necesitan para determinar qué fue lo que sucedió con más claridad y estarán aquí por bastantes horas hasta que tengan todo lo que necesitan. Así que esta ruta estará cerrada por varias horas.
Es decir, que todas las víctimas son mexicanas entonces.
Por el-
Consulado mexicano.
bueno, no sabemos exactos si todos son de México, pero para ayudarnos, ellos están aquí para ayudarnos para determinar eso. Ahorita por el momento no sabemos la nacionalidad de todos.
Ni las condiciones migratorias de ellos.
Tampoco.
Se habla que también había niños en el vehículo.
Por el momento no sabemos las edades. Sí, habían menores, no sabemos qué edades o las condiciones de ellos.
¿Se saben cuántos niños había?
Por el momento no.
¿Pudieran ser polleros?
No sabemos esto por el momento. No sabemos si eran trabajadores o algo así.
La responsabilidad del accidente, ¿cómo se dio el accidente? ¿Tiene más información?
Es muy temprano en la investigación. Todo eso se va a determinar cuando, como le digo, la unidad tenga toda la información que necesiten. Ellos determinarán qué fue lo que sucedió con más claridad.
¿La camioneta iba perseguida por la patrulla fronteriza?
No, no había ninguna otra agencia involucrada en este incidente.
¿Ya todos están identificados, todas las víctimas?
No sabemos si están todos dedicados por el momento. En eso estamos ahorita trabajando. ¿Alguna otra pregunta?
¿Está relacionado con el cierre de la garita de Tecate?
No, que supones no.
¿Su nombre nada más, por favor, padre?
Mi nombre es Juan García.
Nada más ¿de dónde venía la camioneta?
La camioneta iba, ¿mande?
¿De dónde venía la camioneta?
Iba a oeste en Norwich Road y el camión iba norte en el 115. ¿Algo más? Gracias.